Hey folks, in this video, we're going to take you with us on a trip along one of the most amazing roads in America.
The Silver Thread Scenic Byway. We'll start in Creede and travel to Gunnison, Colorado.
And along the way, we'll show you some of the amazing vistas and places we boondocked,
Hike some awesome trails,
explore the city of Gunnison,
and meet a few highly creative people who make the town so interesting.
But first, we'd just like to ask you to consider subscribing to the channel and leave us a comment, good, bad, indifferent. Let us know what you liked, what you didn't like, maybe what we missed, and what you'd like to see in the future. All right, enough of that. Let's hop on the Silver Thread Scenic Byway.
After spending 4 days in and around Creede, our first stop was Silver Thread Campground in Rio Grande National Forest.
And we didn't stop there to camp, but to visit South Clear Creek Falls. The parking area for the falls is in the back of the campground, and the trail to the falls is really easy, short. I think All Trail says it's only about 900 feet. So it's easy enough for pretty much anybody to walk from the parking lot. So how tall were the falls?
We don't know.
We have no idea.
We have no idea.
There was no signage there that talked about how tall the falls were, and we couldn't find anything on Google.
But they were tall.
Yeah, but I would still recommend you go check out those falls because they're really cool.
Very pretty.
But just a few miles north of South Clear Creek Falls is another really amazing, impressive set of falls called North Clear Creek Falls. And at this point, Clear Creek tumbles about 100 feet down into the gorge, and these falls are just amazing.
The falls are really beautiful. We love waterfalls, and these falls were as impressive as any other falls we've seen.
The next stop along the byway is a place called Slumgullion Summit. It's at 11,530 feet, and this is where we got our first real view of 13 and 14ers, as they call them.
And 14ers are mountains that are 14,000 feet or higher.
And up here at Slumgullion Summit, there were several campgrounds along Forest Road 788. We pulled in there to explore, and this was really the first place that we witnessed the devastating effect of the spruce beetle.
The whole campground seemed like nobody had been there for a long time. It wasn't maintained. It was like a ghost town, a ghost campground. There
were some old restrooms there that probably have the best view from any restroom in all of America. But there were also some new ones, and they didn't look like they were maintained or updated. So are the campgrounds open? Are they closed? We have no idea.
And I do want to say that it's called Slumgullion Summit. And my mom used to make this dish called slumgullion. And what it was ground beef and tomatoes and onions. And basically it was like homemade hamburger helper.
Did you eat it? Because you didn't like ground meat.
I did not eat it.
She didn't eat it.
I didn't like ground meat.
Sounds delicious to me. The next stop on the Scenic Byway is a place called Windy Point Observation Site. And from here, you can see a lot of the San Juan Range of the Rockies, including Wetterhorn Peak, which is just over 14,000 feet, Matterhorn Peak, just under 14,000 feet at 13.5, and Uncompahgre Peak, which is 14.3. Another cool thing up here is the Slumgullion Earth Flow, which was a massive mudslide that took down like half of a mountain, apparently 850 years ago, which, of course, in geologic terms is practically yesterday, so it's fairly new. And this mudslide dammed the lake fork of the Gunnison River basically forever, which created our next stop known as Lake San Cristobal.
Lake San Cristobal is the second largest natural lake in Colorado, but the first is the Grand Lake in Grand County. But this lake was a beautiful lake. You can drive around the whole thing. The water is a gorgeous color. It's just beautiful.
And on, I don't remember, the North Shore, the West Shore, I don't remember, is a place called Wupperman Campground that is run by the county. However, the sites there are seriously close together. We read that on iOverlander that they were close, but I mean, they're right next to each other.
Yeah, they're pretty close.
You'd have to be like 3 feet. Trailers would have to be like 3 feet apart if you were in a trailer. It was beautiful, but That was not where we stayed. We stayed at a place called
The Gate. And the Gate was a really cool place. I think there are only 8 campsites.
It's situated in what back east we would call a gap, like Delaware Water Gap, where the mountain range comes across and the river has cut a gap through the middle of the mountains, soaring mountains on either side of it. And this campground is just 38 miles south of Gunnison. We just pulled off the highway because we saw a sign for the Gate, and we said, let's check out what this campground is like. And you know what? We ended up staying there for 5 days, right?
It's right on the river. It's every campsite except one is right on the river.
Yeah, and this river was just amazing. What a great place to spend 5 days. I did a lot of fishing here, and I did catch a really nice 16-inch rainbow trout. While we were there, we did do some cool hiking too. So there's a forest road that runs through the campground, and if you take that forest road, you can do like a 6-mile out and back hike up that road. And there are incredible views. We explored the remnants of an old farm that was up there.
There's a really nice barn, and the barn was, I guess it was collapsed, but I think it would make a really nice brewery. The wood would be an excellent brewery wood.
Yeah, it looked like a brewery in Asheville.
Yeah, Nashville.
While we were exploring the barn, Charlie was out chasing varmints around the field. He was pretty tuckered out by the end of it from running around after the varmints. This campground, this river, wow, just freaking amazing. I can't believe I'm here. Here's to Colorado. Vodka with a splash of cranberry.
So after 5 days at the Gate, we jumped back onto Silver Thread Scenic Byway, and we went to Blue Mesa Reservoir, which is where the Silver Thread Byway ends. It's just west of Gunnison. It's a man-made lake. It's about 20 miles long and has 96 miles of shoreline. And I paddleboarded there.
It was just a beautiful day, and Nita did some stand-up paddleboarding while Charlie and I climbed up on kind of a bluff and just enjoyed the view and enjoyed watching Nita paddleboard out on the lake. It was really cool. What a beautiful lake. Crystal blue. It's called Blue Mesa Reservoir. It's an appropriate name for it. Really blue water. Charlie also did his best to keep the shoreline clear of debris. So just west of the Blue Mesa Reservoir is the Black Canyon of the Gunnison. And no trip to Gunnison would be complete without stopping at the Black Canyon. 48 miles long, 12 of which are within Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Park. And it's 2,722 feet deep. And why do they call the Black Canyon the Black Canyon?
Because it's so narrow and so deep. Some parts receive only 33 minutes of sunlight per day.
Kind of like Port Townsend, Washington.
Yeah, where we used to live. Yeah.
Which is why we don't live there anymore.
Yeah, but we loved it. We loved it when we lived there.
We did. And the vultures really seem to just rule the canyon. I love watching these birds just soaring in canyons. There are 2 ways to get to the Black Canyon from either Gunnison or Blue Mesa, and that's to take either Route 92, which is what we did on this trip, or to take Route 50, which we did previously. Now, if you take 50, you can go to the Black Canyon National Park South Rim Visitor Center, and you'll get amazing views of what's known as the Painted Wall.
It's beautiful.
Oh, wow. You got to see that thing. If you haven't ever done it before, go to the South Rim Visitor Center. It's the tallest sheer cliff in Colorado at 2,250 feet. Just amazing.
As Glenn mentioned, we took Route 92 and boondocked at a pullout called Morrow Point Lookout.
Yeah, beautiful views of the Gunnison Valley. But my favorite part about staying at Morrow Point Lookout was my beautiful wife, Nita, made me a delicious gin martini, actually a Gibson, which is really a nice finishing touch to a beautiful day. Cheers.
And then we watched an incredible storm travel through.
Now, before we continue on, I just want to acknowledge that the astute observer will notice a change in background here. And that's because where we were shooting this segment, a construction crew decided to come in and start cutting trees down, and I couldn't even hear myself think. So we've moved along. But at any rate, we're at the end of the Silver Byway. We've done Blue Mesa Reservoir. We've done Black Canyon of the Gunnison. And finally, we're entering the town of Gunnison.
Gunnison, we made it here.
Now, the first thing you're going to notice entering Gunnison from the west side is what I like to call Dispensary Town. Here you'll find the dispensary, the Frosty Leaf, Frozen Smoke, and basically across the street you have Rocky Mountain Cannabis and Cabin Cannabis. What a nice introduction to town.
So the town of Gunnison, it's a beautiful small town of just under 7,000 people, and the elevation is 7,700. They have a really busy main street and filled with shops and restaurants and bars and cannabis shops.
Yeah, and there's a lot for tourists to do, yet it's not a touristy town
Not
whatsoever.
really.
It feels very, very authentic.
So they have a really nice organic market. It's called Wilder's. And I love organic markets, and I go into every one I see.
Anita got a Crested Butte kombucha on tap.
Delicious.
How was it?
It was delicious. It really was.
And Charlie had some delicious organic free-range water. But my favorite store in Gunnison was a place called Gene Taylor's Sporting Goods. Wow, what a great outdoor store.
It's a great store.
They have everything. They have outdoor clothing,
They have shoes. They have camping and hiking supplies.
fishing lures, hip boots.
They have waders. They have fly rods. They have everything you need for every outdoor sport.
And of course, an amazing selection of flies, including Rocky Mountain Fly and Feather. The RMFF flies were just $1.29 each. Are they the best flies in the world? I don't know, but I can tell you that they're the best flies in the world for $1.29 a piece. So when you're in Gunnison, if you're planning on going to Gene Taylor's and picking up some flies, pick up a copy of the Gunnison Country magazine. It's free, and inside it, there's a coupon for 20 RMF flies for just $20. That's $1 per fly.
Did you buy them?
Did I buy them? Yes, I did. And I also spent about $100 more at that store because I couldn't control myself. Wow, what a great outdoor
Out of control.
What a great outdoor store. We next visited the Gunnison Arts Building, which is a beautiful old building. We saw this one-woman show there called Infinite Possibilities by Carol Connor, which seemed to be mostly renditions of horses and assemblage. My favorite piece was a piece called As Tall as Kevin.
Who's Kevin?
I don't know who Kevin is, but I can tell you that this piece is as tall as he is.
He's not that tall.
And speaking of art, we ran across the Gunnison Mural, which was in progress at the corner of Main Street and East Virginia Avenue, with the theme Trails of the Gunnison Valley. The mural was designed by Amy Jacobson, and her design was chosen from among 762 applicants. And we just happened to see Amy in the progress of painting the mural while we were there. Another artist from Denver, Will Baker, is helping Amy out on this mural as well, because Amy said that she had never done a mural before. So she enlisted Will's help, and I got to tell you, they were doing a really great job, and we enjoyed the mural. Now, since I'm a guitar player, I love to stop in guitar shops, especially when I see really interesting looking handmade guitars. And I found a great guitar shop in Gunnison on Main Street there called Viles'Dobrato Resophonic Guitars. Now, the guitars are designed and hand assembled by the owner, Kent Viles. They're really interesting, and I'm just gonna let Kent tell you all about this incredible instrument that he's designed and makes himself. Show it to me.
So this is the Viles'Dobrato. What really makes it unique is not only is it a Resophonic style guitar, but I'm building in this vibrato system, which is pretty typical if I depress it. But if I pull it sideways, it's a B bender, or the 1-2 pedal push of a pedal steel. towards you. I tried to make it ergonomically so the handle's in your hand, so your vibrato is a very simple downwards motion. The B bender is just a clutch of your fingers. And then that's my stop, to have the B string stop at a C sharp. So that's essentially the 1-2 pedal push on the pedals.
And the best thing about stopping in there, Kent gave me a concert. So after exploring the downtown, we took a walk through the residential area, which we always like to do because that really gives you the real character of a town. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what that was like?
Well, the town of Gunnison, it's absolutely beautiful. There are wide streets. There are natural lawns everywhere. There are flowers everywhere.
Lots of trees.
Lots of trees. It's a mix of different homes. Some are older, some are Victorian, some are log homes. We saw a few modern, not that many.
Yeah, and I love this big old craftsman bungalow too. Really cool stuff.
It looked like a ship.
And how about this incredible old home that's beautifully painted with cool sculptures in the yard?
So another thing this town has, and we've never seen it in any other towns on this trip, they have acequias. And what they are, they're open waterways in Gunnison between people's houses along the street, so everyone has access to the water. Like almost all the houses have their own pumps, and you hear the sound of water everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know if they call them acequias in Gunnison. That's what we call them in New Mexico.
That's what we call them there. It's okay, honey. It's okay. Oh. It's not a big deal. Come on.
Okay, folks. It doesn't take an astute observer to notice that this is now our third background. Because believe it or not, that second location we went to also had construction vehicles that moved in across the river. A lot of beeping, a lot of dump trucks. So we had to move again. Hopefully this is our last location for this shoot. We're almost through the video. And Gunnison, it's also home to Western Colorado University.
It's a green campus, has sprawling lawns. It's mostly older buildings on the southeastern side. But it opened in 1911 as the Colorado State Normal School, and then was renamed Western State College of Colorado in 1923, and then renamed again Western Colorado University in 2012. So it's a public university. It has 2,600 undergrads and 400 graduate students. We saw a lot of nice contemporary buildings on the north side of campus, and it's just a beautiful school. Unlike where you went to school, Temple University in northern Philadelphia.
That's right. It wasn't
a little prettier.
Wasn't the prettiest location, Temple University. But the cool thing about the campus is, just like everywhere else in town, you can see the W on the hillside outside of town. All of these towns out west have the symbol of the university on a hill somewhere overlooking the town. The next 2 nights, we boondocked at an awesome place called Hartman Rocks. Hartman Rocks is amazing BLM land with 50 designated dispersed camping sites. And how much does it cost?
It's free.
It's free.
My favorite price, as you know.
Love the BLM land. Bureau of Land Management for those keeping track. The official entrance to Hartman Rocks is just 3 miles south of Gunnison on County Road 38. And if you go in that official entrance, you're going to have to go up something called Kill Hill. And I read on iOverlander that Kill Hill is extremely steep, but you can make it in a 2-wheel drive vehicle. We did make it in our 2-wheel drive.
Barely.
Front-wheel drive ProMaster, but barely. In first gear, the wheels were slipping, and I wanted to have video of Kill Hill. But we were both just concentrating on getting up that hill. It's not very long, maybe 3/4 of a mile, something like that, but very, very steep. We did find a really cool campsite, but the road up to that particular site, very short, but also extremely steep, and there's no way that I could get up it in the Cubby van here. There was a guy that came later in the day in a big 4-wheel drive truck with a camper on the back, and he was able to navigate those rocks and get up over it, but there was a little secret path around the back, so that made it much easier.
It's just beautiful. It's boulders on top of boulders, and they just go high, and they're stacked. It's a beautiful location.
There were a lot of amazing campsites up there. I mean, I think all 50 of them were just incredible. I love this one with the fire ring right on the rock. Really cool. And this was my favorite one with the fire ring tucked in amongst these rocks here. And there are so many trails. The signage said there were 45 miles of road/trails, including quite a few that are mainly used by OHVs and ATVs. There are 45 miles of single track, so it's perfect for biking and hiking. All the trails are clearly marked, and a number of the trails are for hiking and horses only, no bikes or any vehicle of any type. But we chose to explore by road because it was just so easy to walk and there was so much to see just from the road. And it was a bit windy while we were there, and Nita found a perfect spot to protect herself from the wind.
And I'd like to add that these trails in the winter, they're groomed, the roads and the trails, so they're perfect for winter sports, Nordic skiing, snowshoeing.
And down here you can see that official entrance to Hartman Rocks that requires you to climb Kill Hill. However, there's a much simpler way we discovered the second day to get to Hartman Rocks, and that's by taking Route 50 west from Gunnison, about 4 miles to County Road 32. You travel about 2 miles up 32 and you come to County Road 32B. And that will take you up the back way to Hartman Rocks. It's a little bit longer. It takes maybe half an hour versus 10 minutes the other way.
It's much easier.
There are also designated campsites on this back part, and we camped the second night down here. But in the morning, we took a hike in this area as well. There are some trails there, and we hiked 2 trails, one called Sandy Wash and one called Goat Pasture. This is Sandy Wash. I did see a dirt bike go through here the night before, and it looked fun going up over those humps. And this is the Goat Pasture Trail, looking down at the Cubby van below. If you're going to visit Gunnison, I would highly recommend Hartman Rocks. Just a really cool place. Also a nice destination in and of itself. So before getting back on the road, we headed back into Gunnison to collect some supplies. And that's when we met this young chap. And he said, "Hey, would you listen to my music?" And his name is...
My name is Ablawai.
Hey, what does that mean?
Spoken water. Habla is to speak in Spanish. I dropped the H from habla because my name is Harley. And I moved out to Albuquerque from the islands of Hawaii, where I was born and raised. Vai meaning water. Habla vai. It's like how you say Hawaii. I grew up on the Hilo side in Wainaku, Big Island. I was 5 minutes away from Honolulu.
You must be a surfer.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time at the water.
Not a lot of surfing here.
Actually, I beg to differ. I would compare this place to Hawaii. Snowboarding is just like surfing. And the weather and trees and the people here do remind me of Hawaii.
That's on the news in the present, and forget it. Get lit on the booze, getting better, get lit. Gonna show me all those rules, so forever. Is it worth it? Those are choices you will choose, now we better.
My music is a reflection of myself. My objective throughout my music is to inspire, to create a world of stronger emotional consciousness.
So if we only listen to one song, what song would you want us to listen to?
You would want to listen to Listen. That's the song
great.
you want to listen to.
I only fell when I stopped trying. I don't believe in luck. I'm stronger than excuses getting in my way. Fuck around, get
Do you live here in Gunnison?
Yes, I do.
Do you like it?
I think this is a wonderful town, and I have had nothing but good experiences here.
There's nothing as beautiful as honesty.
Gunnison is a wonderful town, and we also had nothing but good experiences there.
Yeah, it was really nice. I could definitely move there if they had better grocery stores, but we won't talk about that. Creede. If you haven't watched the Creede video, link below. Watch the Creede video. Silver Thread Highway and all of the wonders that it beholds. Black Canyon of the Gunnison. Blue Mesa Reservoir. And finally, Gunnison, Colorado. Great trip, folks. If you're in the area, I highly recommend taking any of these trips. And have anything else to say before we finish? Close out?
See you down the road.
See you on the road.